It's time to swarm the 402. Welcome to the Nebraska Hawkeyes. These guys are brave. They're Hawkeyes living in enemy territory. Listen, these guys are way past their prime, but they're still Hawkeyes. They're spreading the Hawkeye hype to all of Nebraska. The frost advisory is canceled. Corn Huskers, more like corn suckers. Are you ready for this podcast? Let's go Hawks!
All right, welcome back to the Nebraska Hawks Nest, your Hawkeye oasis located in a Nebraska desert. It is a special day for us here. We are very excited to have Taylor McCabe, Iowa Hawkeyes women's basketball commit. Taylor, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing well. We're doing well. As we said before the interview, we'd ask you more about the weather and things where you're at, but you're just not that far from us here in the Go Big Red State, which we won't talk about that. But anyway, it's good to have you on. We're anxious to talk to a local recruit for the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, Taylor, we got to start out with the obvious here. You're a Nebraska girl from Fremont, okay? Walk us through your recruitment process and what made you decide to end up verbally committing to be a Hawkeye.
So Iowa jumped on me pretty early. We've been talking for several years. We've had a good relationship for a while now, and that was something that definitely meant a lot to me. And with COVID years coming up and stuff like that, I didn't really know what was going to happen. And they were supportive and nice and explanatory through all of it and answered every question that I had. I visited Iowa several times before, like shutdowns and stuff like that. And obviously I've been back since then. And, I've just watched the program for a couple of years now. Love it. Love the coaching staff. Love the university. And it was just the best fit for me.
Oh, that's awesome. And so, take us through, coming up, Taylor, take us through how you came up through the ranks. Was it just the typical playing a lot of club ball? Did you play other sports? What's your background coming into this?
I started, taking more of a focus on basketball in probably 5th grade. And then I started getting recruited in 7th grade. I got my first scholarship offer right before my freshman year. And
Wow.
I don't know. I've just been working on it for a long time. It's nice to see all the payoff. I also run track, and then I actually ran cross country this fall. So, I'd like to say that I do other things too, but basketball is obviously the focus.
All right, Taylor. So Jerry and I know from firsthand experience what it's like to be a Hawkeye living in Husker land. How tough has it been for you since you announced your commitment to Iowa with your classmates, people your age, just people in the community? Have they given you a pretty hard time, or has it been pretty smooth sailing for you?
I won't lie. I have heard, why Iowa? Why go anywhere but Iowa quite a few times.
Yeah.
But, you get used to it eventually. And once everybody hears my explanation of how much I love it, and once they watch Iowa play, they're like, okay, I understand. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
So who were some of the other schools recruiting you, Taylor? And what was it about Iowa that just you sealed the deal and you said, that's where I want to be?
Couple of Big 10s, couple Big 12, and then early on it was a couple like Creighton and SDSU and some other schools like that.
All right. Well, Taylor, walk us through for a lot of those young girls that are out there wanting to develop their game and become the best basketball player they can be. What type of time commitment did you put in, and what type of work did you put in to become the player you are right now?
Growing up, I just focused a lot on repetition and doing everything the same over and over so that in game it would just be muscle memory, especially with shooting, because that's what I'm known for. That's what I pride myself in. And, just it takes hours to get the perfect shot for every individual, and then just making sure that you can replicate it enough to have it exactly how you want come game time. Otherwise, I do a lot of ball handling. Defense is more of a thing that I would say I got better with practices with my own teams. That wasn't something I could do on my own, but I'm glad at how I've grown in that, I guess. And over the years, you just keep learning, keep trying new things, and then work on them until they look good.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, firsthand, as we were talking about before the call, I got to catch your game here in Norfolk. And, it was so impressive. And I mean, I guess showing my age here, but the name that kept coming to thought as I watched you play was John Stockton. He was a great point guard, 92 Dream Team, but everything was fluid. There was no wasted motion to your game. You played within the game, you played within the flow. It was just an incredible. But I got to tell you, that shot repetition, I told Adam I couldn't find video of it, but right before half, you got the ball with about 4 seconds down there, got it out, and you're already smiling. I can tell you know what
Yeah, I know.
You got the ball out on the left, the left wing, and just did one behind the back dribble and just a little bit of a fadeaway as you put it up there, and it was nothing but net when it came through. And I looked at Russ, who's been on the Hawks Nest with us. I just looked at him and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the real deal. So it was a highly, highly impressive performance from you here. But, that repetition is so important. I mean, and it's like, I don't necessarily know that a lot of people understand that, or a lot of people come up in the game that want to take it to the next level, really understand what you did about it.
Yeah. I definitely think that, like a shot like that. So if you want to be a high Division I player, then you have to do things that other kids can't. And I thought that was a good example of that. I've had a lot of people compliment me on that play exactly, so that was kind of cool.
Well, we've had interactions with Coach Jan Jensen, fairly often, and Coach Lisa Bluter. They're just phenomenal people, and you can't help, even if you're not a Hawkeye fan, you want to root for good people like that. We love those guys. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with them and what really impressed you about them.
Yeah, so I actually talked to Jan first, and then she immediately talked about getting me on campus, and I talked to the entire staff there. I talked to Coach Bluter, I think, even before I went there, and they've been nothing but kind to me, nothing but supportive. They text me before and after every single game that I've played, and I do the same for them, of course. And, I just love how we have that frequent communication, and then I've grown my relationships a lot with Coach Stamp and Coach Harmon, and, it's just something that I'm really looking forward to next year, having that staff that's fun and energetic and also is going to teach me and help me.
Yeah. It's such a family atmosphere. That's what we get, is like that's one unit right there, and it's a family atmosphere, and that's the crazy part about it. You don't get that when we interview different players and teams and talk to different athletes from all different sports. You don't really get that feeling of family and cohesiveness like you do with the Iowa women's basketball program.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. So has there been much discussion, or are we getting too far ahead of ourselves as far as kind of an idea of what kind of a role you might be playing then as you get to Iowa City, Taylor? Or is it just for right now, that's where you want to be, and we're going to kind of let that organically take place?
Yeah, however they want to use me, I'll fall into line there. I want to be as best at my role as I can be. I know that I've played with quite a few girls that are already there. Sydney Affelter is a freshman there, and I played with her 2 summers ago. The 2 girls that are going to come in with me next year, I played with for 2 years now. Like even Caitlyn played for my club program, so we all kind of run the same stuff, and we know how to look for each other and play together. So that should be good.
So you and Caitlyn had played together before then?
Not really. I actually played against her once when I was super young. But we've done some like scrimmage situations where she's come back to play against our team like in the summer, but that's about it.
Yeah. Taylor, growing up, obviously, playing ball as much as you had to have had a few idols that you looked up to, that you wanted to map your game after a little bit. From the men's and the women's games both, who were some players that you really looked up to?
Well, Kevin Durant was my favorite player to watch. I wouldn't say I modeled after him, but I just liked watching him. From the girls' game, I watched a lot of women's basketball growing up, which I think is a really big thing that a lot of girls now don't do, and I think they should do more. And I used to watch like Skylar Diggins that played in Notre Dame and then went into the WNBA. I loved watching her. From the men's side, I didn't watch as much men's college basketball, but I watched quite a bit of NBA. I liked watching JJ Redick quite a bit, and I would say that I somewhat modeled after him. I don't know, I just would see stuff that he would do, and I like to get my footwork exactly right, and that's something that he focuses on too, so I liked that.
Yeah. Had you had much? Have you followed Iowa basketball, women's basketball, as much before your commitment, Taylor? Or
actually,
are there some players that you identify with? I guess for Hawkeye fans to maybe know how you who you model yourself after.
I liked watching. This is pretty recent, but I liked watching Mackenzie Meyer. Just she could do a bunch of different things, and I liked how she expanded off of her game a lot. And so, that would be somebody that I would say that I look up to.
All right. So those that are listening that are in the Fremont area or watching on YouTube right now, what is your favorite one or two places in the Fremont area to go grab something to eat that you're going to miss once you go to Iowa City?
Oh, Penny's Diner. My friends and I get milkshakes there a lot.
I've never been there. Okay. Penny's Diner. Have you ever been there, Jerry?
I have not.
Oh, I'm like drawing a blank. My favorite place, it was a diner and it just went out of business. They just closed it, and I'm trying to in Fremont, and I cannot remember the name of it. Taylor, help me out here. Don't make me look.
To be honest, I probably won't know. I don't actually live in Fremont.
Oh, okay. Where are you at, Taylor?
I live in Blair.
In Blair.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right.
It's not too far, obviously, so it's completely fine. But it's not like I just have a walk to places to eat.
Okay. Well, that makes more sense then.
Yeah.
But you know what? Just endeared to Iowa fans even more because you're just right across the river now. You're even closer to Iowa than what we realized. So Taylor, you know what? You're a high school senior though, and you've got some pretty talented teammates too. So let's give them a little bit of airtime while we're on here. You've got let's give some shout outs to your teammates, and maybe sounds like some of them are being recruited to play some college ball also.
Yeah, my high school teammates right now, we've got most of them are committed that are going to play. And so we've got Macy Bryant's going to go to the UNK here in Kearney. And then we've got Sarah Shepard. She's going to go to Midland. And Bella Keaton's going to Briarcliff College, I believe, Briarcliff University. And so, yeah, those are girls that I've been playing with for quite a while now. And it's nice. Our signing day was really fun just because we were all signing places. That was really cool.
So how's the season going then for you guys too? Let's update the crowd out there that maybe don't live here like we do and know.
Really well. We were coming in this year. We lost the state championship by 4 points last year. And then that was to Pius, who had Alexis Markowski, who's now at Nebraska. And so then coming in this year, we were kind of expecting to make it far, expecting to hopefully win it. And we actually lost the first game of the season. We haven't lost since then, which I believe we've won 16 games in a row. So we're 16-1. And then right now we've got a lot of momentum. I would say that we're playing incredibly well. And this week will be a big week for us because we have games on Friday and Saturday that are both going to be tough. Saturday we actually play at the Mid-America Center, and we're going to play against Glenwood. That's an Iowa team.
Yeah.
And then, just going forward, we got to hope that we peak at the right time. And I think we're going to do some real damage.
Well, the inside information I got in the crowd was that loss, the first loss of the season, was a pretty hard fought. Was it overtime, double overtime, something like that?
Yeah, it was double OT. And it was go ahead.
No, but I was going to say one of the fan that I was talking to said that's actually kind of kept you guys off a lot of people's radar, not being undefeated though too, which may be a good thing to be as you move forward. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I honestly, it was kind of a wake-up call because I think a lot of people thought that we were going to just roll through this season, and losing right off the bat got people focused very fast. And I was okay with that because truthfully going undefeated all season is a really hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And if you're going to lose the first game, it might as well be one that's up front rather than one that's going to cost you some power points or something later on.
Sure.
Go ahead, Jerry.
No, and keeps the pressure off. So you don't have that pressure that season and the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So Taylor, going back to the beginning, when what got you to pick up a basketball in your hand? Was there anybody in your life that really helped encourage that, or was that something that you drove on your own?
My dad was a really, really big part of that. He's the one who's always taken me to the gym. He's the one who's always worked with me and showed me new things and has analyzed my game from the beginning and just kind of taught and helped me grow. And so I would say that he's probably credited with that. We had a little square tiles in our basement, and he would get me to do my dribbling down there when I was really little. And then once I could eventually finally shoot, then he would help me out with that. And I just loved it so much. And, it meant something to me that was how we spent time together too. So it still is. And I like that.
Cool.
That's really cool. So, what are you looking at academically, Taylor? I mean, do you have anything of interest right now? Or are you just kind of undecided, or have you got any kind of a track you're looking at?
Yeah, right now I think I'm going to go the engineering route. I'm not
Wow.
exactly sure. I'm kind of thinking civil, but we'll see once I get there. I can make a decision then.
Well, I just got shivers thinking about trying to be an engineer. So good for you.
We're getting outclassed here.
Someday Adam and I'll know what we want to be when we grow up. So
yeah, I still haven't figured it out yet, but maybe someday. But Taylor, we'll let you get back to your family. We just wanted to introduce you to the Hawkeye fans out there, and like I said, the women's basketball program is one of our favorites. And did you make it to Lincoln when they played there just recently here?
Yeah, I was there.
Okay, I was there too. So that was a fun game.
It was.
That was a fun game. And I wanted to bring this up to you too and kind of see what you thought on it. And I got really frustrated when I heard this, but there was some criticism on Caitlyn about just her swagger and, putting their hands up in the air and, playing with a lot of confidence and passion, in my opinion. That type of thing, I feel like it's lost because when you see a guy player, a male player do that, it's like, oh, he's just passionate, he's fired up. And then I feel like, if a female basketball player does that, then, they're arrogant. And I don't really feel like that's a fair comparison. But, what do you see when, you see a female player out there playing with passion and playing to the crowd?
I think Caitlyn's something different, something that women's basketball hasn't seen in a very long time or possibly ever. I think she backs it up incredibly well, especially that game. She backed it up.
Yeah.
And, she's just having fun. She's just doing what she's doing. She's brought in a lot of attention to the sport and to Iowa. So I think that's incredibly important. And, in my opinion, she keeps it pretty under control, and she's always been able to not let it affect her play. And so, she's a player that a lot of people look up to, and I don't think that should affect it.
I 100% agree. And, obviously this isn't something that's important at all, but not only is she a great basketball player, but she's a phenomenal entertainer. I mean, she pulls you into that game. And I not very many times in my life have I got sucked into a basketball game so much that I'm completely unaware of my surroundings. And I'm just so locked into what's going on the court. And she can definitely do that. So I love watching her play, and I love the passion that she plays with. And as fans, it just gets us even more excited to watch the game.
Yeah.
And cool. Caitlyn, if you're out there listening to this at all, you did get under the burr of the saddle of the Husker fans.
Yeah.
I heard about that all week after that. And I actually kind of enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie. So.
I brought my daughter to the game, and I think that was the only thing that kept some of the fans from really letting me have it verbally, because my daughter was sitting right next to me. But I was getting into it, putting my hands up in the air and cheering and getting loud, and they were just turning around and saying some not so friendly things, but that's okay. It's just, we're all passionate about, the game of basketball. So that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Taylor, thank you so much for taking time tonight. It's a school night. We know you got to get ready and get up again tomorrow and get hard at it again and get the senior year finished out. But we'll be sure to share out to our audience how Fremont girls basketball continues to go this season, and wish you the best of luck, and feel free to, we hope we get to, this is the first of many times we get to talk to you through the years while you're at Iowa.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. Go Hawks.
All right, go Hawks.